Thanks to PEPFAR, horror finally gave way to hope. And treatment became available, and people all of a sudden living with HIV literally rose out of their hospital beds and went home to resume their lives and livelihoods. In the 20 years since, PEPFAR has saved 25 million lives, more than twice the number of people living in New Jersey and Idaho. That's a lot of lives. And AIDS deaths have been cut by 60%, and new HIV infections by more than half. You should be rightfully proud of what you've created and the impact it has had and is still having. We have the tools, and we need to turn the tide. And increasingly, national leadership, capacity, and ingenuity are taking what is good and making better and more sustainable. But we need to keep our foot on the accelerator. We've come so far in such a short time, relatively. By extending PEPFAR for another 5 years and fully funding it, together, we can continue the march towards ending AIDS for everyone, everywhere, and leave no one behind.
What are some of the unique challenges that are faced by adolescent boys and girls in assessing prevention care and treatment services? And from your experiences of the foundation, is there anything you can recommend that we need to do to overcome those challenges?
Well, thank you, Senator. Most teens aren't connected to all the healthcare systems, and they think it's for old and sick people, basically, and not for them. As we do with all age groups, we need to work with young people to develop messages that are meaningful and relevant to them and engage youth where they already are, in this case, online, as well as sports, music, and other youth-focused events. There's no point in designing services that don't get used because they don't work for a particular group. They have a saying, nothing's for us without us. And that makes sense to me. It's so important that you engage the young youth, the youth of Africa, with where they are, as I said, online, on their phones. It's the best way of getting to them, and they listen. I think stigma and discrimination, shame stops progress, and this is what we're finding in America as well. We must stop this. We must, get the opportunity in the hands of young people to stop this. But stigma is always, we have the medicine here to shut this disease down, which is truly amazing. But it's the stigma that stops the progress and the shame base. But as I say, I'm optimistic, and I think with young people, if you give young people the gauntlet, they'll run with it. And criminalization of LGBT people affects progress as well. In certain countries, we mentioned Uganda earlier on in the forum, and it's dismaying to see this, and it hinders not only people who have to go underground, but it's inhumane, and it will eventually hinder their economy and the global economy, and it's just a dead-end situation. As I say, I'm optimistic, but we have a lot of work to do. We're not just sitting here clapping our hands. We have a hell of a lot of work to do. I'm very optimistic because God knows the internet is responsible for so many awful things, but it can also be responsible for so many wonderful things. And the wonderful thing it can do is we provide young people with information to stay healthy, services like HIV testing, treatment, PrEP, mental health services, and more. And it's really important to get online services to young people where they need it, not they don't have to travel. So where they need to get it locally, and expanding programs across multiple countries, and linked to health systems. It's going really, really well. I think we have hopefully nearly 100,000 people using this now. And when we were in South Africa, about 30,000 were using it. So it's coming along very well. And it's nice to see you again after our wonderful trip. But I think, my adamant thing is use the internet to get to the young. The young are taking this up, and they really is responding to the information and the fact that they can talk to each other online about it or on their phone. It's really, really important. And they are the future. They are our future, no matter what it is, whether it's HIV, the world, or whatever. The young people are the ones that are going to take this forward.